Hello, viewers. Welcome to Lawyers Info Hub. It's a great pleasure to have you here. How are you doing today? How is everything going? I guess you're fine. So today we are looking at safety measures in construction, looking at the Ikoyi collapse, the 21-story building collapse in Ikoyi as our case study. So today I have a wonderful guest here. He's an engineer, so we're going to look at it from the engineering perspective so that we can understand both views. We have tried to look at it legally. We also try now want to look at it from the engineering aspect. So my guest today is Engineer Eric. He will introduce himself in a minute. Welcome, sir. We are glad to have you on this platform. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. Please, can you introduce yourself?
All right, thank you. All right, thank you very much. I am Engineer Eric Ikedi, and
Okay.
I am a structural engineer, and I am practicing. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Can you tell us the name of your company?
Okay, my company is Walkway Engineering Service Limited. Walkway
Okay, you're
Engineering Service
welcome.
Limited. Yes, I'm
Okay,
the
thank you
managing
very
director
well.
of the company.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Yeah. So on the 1st of November, we ushered in the new month with a very big disaster. That was the collapse of the 21-story building in Lagos. It's indeed a national challenging moment. It's a national disaster. You know, a lot of people died, and till date, a lot of people are talking about it. It's something that we will live to continue to talk about. But now, in moving forward, when things happen, we try to learn. So, for you, the time you heard about this incident, how did you feel? What came to your mind?
Okay,
Did
thank
you
you
get my?
very much.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, I got your question. I got your
Okay,
question. Yes, there are actually various things that can cause building collapse, and
okay,
is a very bad situation. It's not something that anybody will want to experience. It's something that
okay,
nobody wants. Building collapse is a very bad experience. Nobody wants that.
okay,
Nobody wants that. And yeah, there are some of the things that causes building collapse.
okay,
And those are the things that we really need to curb. In Nigeria, we have recorded a lot of collapse of buildings in various states of
okay.
Nigeria, and
Yeah,
uh, yes, these are the things that we really need to look into. Professionals need to arise, and look into, so that the menace can be curbed.
yeah,
And yeah, some of the things that can cause this collapse. For instance, when a structure is designed to go for like four floors or three,
okay,
and in the process of the construction, the
yeah,
client, yes, the ones start requesting for more floors to come on top. And these are some of the things that can cause collapse. And if the engineer or the contractor that is handling the project is a
yes,
type that is after money, is
okay,
after money, but not,
yeah,
yes, not considering the life of the people that will
yeah,
use the building.
the
You
building.
will accept and go ahead to put more floors on top of the floors that are already there.
So it's there's a beauty there's a network issue now, the glitch here. But my guess is trying to say that most times many clients are greedy. So by the time they have an approval for three buildings, three floors, and by the time the contractor or the engineer start work, and they see how the work is progressing, they request, why don't we add extra one? It doesn't matter. Why don't we add extra two? So these are the situations that engineers find themselves. And in adding extra one floor, adding extra two floors, you will see that no reinforcement is done on the foundation, because it is the foundation that bears the burden, that bears the weight of these structures. So because they now want to add one or two floors, they'll just do, okay, you think that cement is remaining, the blocks are there. What will it take? Even be 2 days work, block work, it's just the same thing, the amount of money. So they start looking at it from the point of business rather than the point of the lives of people who will use the property. So that way, you will see that they end up, satisfying their own conscience, while by putting the lives of people who will utilize this property at risk. You know, I just hope my guest will be able to reconnect back. It's going to be an awesome time. So we're looking at now the safety measures in construction. What are those things, measures engineers should look at, contractors should look at, structural engineers should look at, architects should look at? For yeah, sometimes you see that a lot of people will say yes, architect it ends at the point of drawing. I think though I'm not an architect, but I know that for an architect who drew a plan, that should be a form of let's say follow up, kind of that kind of, you know for it should be an agreement. As these people are building, you're also looking at to see that what is being built is in line with the plan. We should have this kind of arrangement that the architect work should not end at the point of drawing, because an architect can draw something, the builder builds another, the engineer builds another thing. So I think there should be a follow up. In following up, then if there are defects here and there that is not going to work in line with what is drawn, those things can be sorted out. Now we look at the structural engineer. The structural engineer is there to ensure that the structure itself is is built in such a way that it's going to stand the test of time. We've seen buildings that were built as far back as 1920, 1930, still standing. And the ones we are building now, that's not even up to 1 year, few months, even if 2 years, 3 years, are collapsing. So it goes to show there is problem with the structure. When the foundation is faulty, what else can what else is expected of the building? It's a matter of time. You remember that these buildings, that there are wears, there are just as time goes on, the wind, the sun, the flooding, depending on where this building is situated. These are natural occurrences that also affect the nature of a building. Sometimes you say a house after 20 years, 30 years, there's a renovation. It's just to add, to ensure that this building is well, looks good again. So people that are building should have in mind that this building should stand the test of time. 10 years, 20 years, should, even without a renovation, can it still stand? So these are the issues in construction. Safety, the lives of people who will live in these properties. That should be that should be one of the priority. Not about how much I'm going to gain if I put in 10 million in this structure, if I put in 50 million in this structure. What is my return on investment in the next 4 years? As much as a businessman will want to know what is going to come back, but at the same time, that should not be the priority. Every day this death toll keep rising, and I feel so sad. It affects me because these are people's brothers, these are people's husbands, people that are rendered homeless, fatherless, people are rendered are becoming widows, became widows, not just even becoming, people became widows, people lost brothers, sisters, all because of some mistakes which can be avoided. Now look at quality of material. Quality of material. Now, I think that the government should start looking into not just the builders, from the production. Yes, if, for example, the person that is manufacturing the iron rod, should do it in such a way that it will last. We should not be, because of money and the demand, we now reduce quality. if it's going to be this size, let it be that size. If it's going to be, we should, the manufacturers have a role to play too. I think the manufacturers have to, the person who's manufacturing, who's molding the blocks. If the block molders, if the block industries do not, pattern their, the mixing, the proportion, what proportion of sand, the proportion of water, the proportion of cement that should be contained, that should be mixed together to have a quality block. Because if for the bricks manufacturer, what is the what how do I make these bricks so that way that even if it is used for a 200 or a 50-story building, it will not collapse. So I think from the manufacturers, a lot should be done before we not even get to the builders. So I think the quality of the cement, the strength of the rods should also be considered. So a lot of people are saying the national building code should be passed. It is key. Where there are no legislation, where there's no legislation, where there's no law, there seems to be an abuse. Abuse is what predominant, abuse is inevitable. So the national building code, it is what will solve this problem. I beg our National Assembly members, those representing us at the legislature, to do the right thing, to pass. This is now a national concern. People can't keep losing their lives over negligence. People can't keep losing their life over what can be averted. People can't keep losing their lives over something that can be done well. So if there should be a code, or there is a code, but we need to pass it to become a law, we should pass it so that when people no go outside the code, they know that okay, this is it. This is it for every builder, for every engineer, for every, know that we have a building code, and the building code will be, we have to work with our code. Now we look at approval. I've said this so many times with respect to this issue, that more work has to be done into this in these regulatory agencies and bodies that supervise buildings and all of that, the building control agency and all of that. Even the national housing, yes, because when people are not being monitored, it's assumed they should know what to do and all of that. Even for the engineers, for everyone that should be on site, for all the people, the building, the construction body, for all of them, that should be, or each of them should be able to sign, to sweat one, not just maybe to sign like an undertaking that for every project they will supervise must be in line with the building code, with the standards. Now, before anyone even certified an engineer, these are things they should be able to, I know it's there. I'm not an engineer, but that should be strict compliance. That should people that are not complying should be brought to book. When a building collapses, the engineer should be fished out. I've read a lot of commentaries on this issue, and for this particular Ikoyi building that collapsed, they're saying on the building that should be list of the contractor. Like in a normal building, when there's a project that's going on, you should be able to see a signpost listing who is the contractor, who is the structural engineer, who is the architect, who is this, who is that. That such a signpost was not there. Now this goes to show that were they working in this anonymous circumstances? Who are the engineers? Who are the structural engineers? These are, we need to get information. So these are key. So as an engineer who is out there supervising a project, please, if the developer is insisting on going on maybe above the required approved a number of floors, or the building are outside what was approved, please raise an alarm. You are not just saving, you're not just, you might lose money. The person might say, I don't want to work for me again, but by raising an alarm, you are saving life. That's safety starts with you being able to tell yourself that I might even be a victim. In this case, the owner of the property became a victim. So if as an engineer and you are in a site and the wrong materials are being used, please raise alarm. Please, there should be a body that someone can even put up an anonymous message to say such a building at number 346 of so place, they are using substandard material. It could be an anonymous, it could be even be a whistleblower as an engineer, yes. Then the government agencies should be immediately such messages or alarm comes, they rush there to check. Now, after one of the interviews that was conducted in one of the TV stations, one of the architect was saying that should be need for soil examination. That the way a building will be done in a waterlogged area like Lagos Island, the place where this project that collapsed is, the soil texture is different from another part of Lagos, which is hard. That you don't need to, you can't them, the soil textures are different. For the one that is, waterlogged, you need to do more, to ensure that the foundation is very, concrete. And if you're going to do one for the one on the strong surface, maybe on the mainland, you do three, because the water has soaked the place and all of that. So how many buildings, how many engineers, how many construction workers, or even the developers are interested in understanding the soil on which they want to build? Yes, how many people? This has happened in Lagos, but we know that there are shanties being built across Nigeria. Buildings that, sort of, when you look at it, you say, should this building stand? Should this building, as much as there's a proposition that high-rise buildings help in housing. Yeah, why don't we do it in mass production? That should be a high-rise. It's more like utilizing a small space for a bigger project. Fine. But the safety of this project, the safety of lives, the quality of work that should be done in this high rise, more attention should be paid to it, and also to other buildings. Now, as engineers, as construction workers, but we're looking at safety measures. They have roles to play. They have roles. You can't condone when a developer is insisting on, maybe you're supposed to use, maybe let's say perfect. I'm not a builder. You're supposed to use like 10 tree. You're going to use, let's say for example 10 bags of cement for something. I say let's use 5. Let's use that to waste. No, an engineer should not keep quiet. An engineer should not keep quiet, because it's even a sin against yourself, because if anything goes wrong, you bear the brunt. And for every building project where the list of the worker, the engineers, the structural engineer, the mechanical engineer, electrical, all of them are not listed, then this has opened the eyes of our eyes to certain things. Beyond with giving approval, there should be follow-up, there should be supervision. There should be people, officers should be assigned to the very, not just to go and mark sealed or just to mark stop work. There should be supervision, even when after marking some buildings and maybe say bring your documents and all of that, it will be regularized. More supervision, because it's possible that they will go back to do what is not required. So we need supervision. Then people should raise alarm. If you're in a neighborhood where you see a building, you just suspect, raise alarm. Toll-free numbers should be given to residents. A house is shaking, raise alarm. A structure is being defective, it's shaking, people are complaining, this building is shaking, raise alarm. Distress call is important. It's really, really, really important. Now, in places like Lagos, where you have to do the beyond Ikoyi, that is the high growth area, in local suburbs where you have to pay your money lay and all of that, there's area, but you want to do the foundation, they are there. You want to do roofing for every stage of your building, they are there. Most of these develop because of the money they have paid to these agent boys and area boys, disturbing the progress of the project. They tend to like, we've seen someone, let's not use anything we have for the project. So government should do something about this omonile and all these payments. It should not be legalized, because the money these people collect, it affects these developers. Because if I spend 5 million or 2 million or 1 million in settling this, but what do I have for my project? So it has a way of affecting the quality of the materials to be used. So something has to be done. Something has to be done on the proliferation of this money lays. For every stage you do, you're doing the foundation, they are there. You're doing your fencing, they are there. Therefore, you are doing the decking, they are there. So it's something that it's something that has to be done. To be looked into. Has to be looked into. So now we now look at for the workers on site. You know, there should be some sort of insurance. I'm proposing this, whether it's I'm proposing this because some of these workers, you see that from the interview there was been granted in the site of this school. A lot of people say that money they just brought us from somewhere. They just brought us. They didn't even know how long the period. They just brought us to do something, and it happened. Now there should be some form of insurance and agreement, like in case of eventualities, casualties. Who maybe the developer should be a liability. Yes, you don't just bring people on and they die. And what are we saying? The engineering, the construction industry, the building, the real estate industry should be able to, put this in place for those workers who are coming to work on site. They should have some form of like an insurance, or your insurance over your project should cover them. Peradventure, in the course of building, somebody dies, somebody falls from the building. I feel and I think it is proper that there's form of an agreement on an insurance cover to cover them, because you can't expect people to keep working for you, and at the end of the day, if they die on site, what happens to them? Now with the people that have died, then who takes liability? The company, the company, the government, the engineers on site, the firms handling the project. That was a massive project. That was a massive project. So that should be some form of agreement, insurance that should cover laborers who are working on site. That's what I'm proposing. And so the scope of an insurance cover over a project or a building project should cover the workers, not just the building itself. If you bring a laborer and the laborer from the 3-story building, 4-story building, who pays liability? Who pays compensation? So these are many more that should be factored into as things, because I know that this situation will bring about a change in the real estate development circle, in the forum of engineers, the forum of architects, and all the groups, all the forums of that involves construction. So another safety measure is that I would say that beyond officials from the regulatory bodies going to supervise, once there is a breach, beyond sealing a place, people should pay fine. When you know that you're going to pay a fine for a breach of a building code or a building standard or an approval, or you've gone beyond what was given to you, I know you're going to pay beyond rectifying it. Payment for non-compliance is key. Payment for non-compliance is key. Payment for non-compliance is key. A lot of people are saying greed was one of the reasons why this building collapsed and all of that. Yes, greed might be a factor, but we looked at the quality of material used. So these are one of the beyond greed. Let's say greed, it's not definite. Yeah, it's not definite. It's also possible the owner wanted the best, but it was not even the best. So the quality of the material, starting from the manufacturing companies, not just the builders, because if the person who is supposed to provide the cement does not have a good cement, if the company produces cement that is below quality, below standard, then it will affect the building. If the rods to be used, you have said the roads as prevention, I'm just using an example, 10 meters or 10, in quality, in weight or in size, then, and it's less than that, who bears liability? So it will still affect the project, that is going on. Now, I watched a commentary on, I watched a discussion on this issue, and the anchor of that program was asking the balancing of profit and quality. in real estate. Beyond making profit, are we looking at quality? The balancing of profit and quality. As much as I want to make profit, I also have to deliver a quality project. There should be a balancing of both, not about profit, but about quality. Because if you don't produce like that huge project, it will cost billions. 65% sold off as at the point of collapse. People's money lost in the drain. It was a huge and massive project. As much as people, the profit is amazing, the profit is huge. Are we balancing it with quality? Are we balancing it with quality? So another thing we'll look at is what role can the Nigerian Society of Engineers play to help the government assuage these, further occurrences? Let us go back to the drawing board. I've said about the need for an enabling law, the National Building Code. Everybody's talking about it now. Something has to be done urgently by legislature to ensure that this law comes to pass, to be in existence. In coming to existence, it will help other states to some states already have some laws guiding their building, the building sector, but that national law is needed. Is key. Is key. So now the National Nigerian Society of Engineers, amongst other society, the architects and all of that, can I put up to ensure that this, this bill is passed, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. More can happen. Yes, in the past, we've had series of collapse of building. We've seen it, but I think in recent time, this one, even though I think there was a collapse before now that a lot of people died, but we're looking at none is small. But if nothing is done, we might still hear of a collapse tomorrow. We might still hear of collapse next year, next month. So that this we should learn. It's not about after a few months everything fizzles away, nothing is done. So I think these various societies or associations should come together. It is a problem. It affects their business, it affects their profession, it affects the nation in general. So it should be able, they should be able to go back to their drawing board and talk to themselves, talk to any engineer that goes to site and something wrong is happening and you continue. The profession should find that engineer, and now the engineer should be able to face the law. So the internal process of discipline professionals in the construction sector should be heightened, should be more. That's what I'm proposing. This is my opinion. Should be, because what if they know that if I'm going back to my association, I will be fine, and I'm still going to face the law. I think such engineer, such contractors, such structural engineers, such architects, such the different bodies that handle projects will now say, no, developer, we can't continue, and if you continue, we will report you. Yeah, when you know that your engineer, beyond even being paid for his job, is going to report you when you do the wrong thing, I think the developers will also change. Now, the body of real estate and developers in Nigeria should do something. Things can't keep happening and we are keeping quiet. They should rise up to the occasion. Developers should know how to balance profit with quality. It's not all about, I want to do the highest skyscraper, I want to do 30 story, I want to do 50 story. You have the money and all that. The quality is what matters. Why do we still have buildings that from back of 1950, 1960, still standing today, and the ones we are building now are falling? It shows something is wrong. The government should be blamed, the individual should be blamed, everybody is to be blamed. Even the person who stood by, the neighbor, the nearby property, the person living in the next property who refused to raise alarm when you saw something wrong in the building should also be liable. Should be liable to when there is a problem or when there is a collapse or when there is a disaster of this nature. So a lot of people have said, I used to work there, I noticed. Why did we to raise alarm? We should encourage whistle blowing. We should encourage people coming out to speak that something is wrong in that construction. Do something. So that government, even if they don't know, they will arrest the occasion. So the safety measures lies on everyone. For the workers, the laborers who are there, the safety consciousness should be enough. For the developer who has that project, the safety consciousness beyond spending money to build something, the safety of people who will utilize that building, the safety of the buyer should be considered. So these are the safety measure cuts around the government, the building agencies, the regulatory bodies. The safety measures to also be given, it should be heightened more. It should be put up to any person that breaches should pay fine, should be, and even if possible charged to court, because the loss of those people that died, did they deserve to die? They didn't deserve to die. They didn't deserve to die that way. Lord, oh God, the loss of life is something that cannot be, you can't bring the person back to life. This is someone that went to do his daily job or to earn a living and died because somebody somewhere, some people somewhere refused to heed to instruction or refused to do the right thing. This building collapse, amongst others that had collapsed in the past, to teach us a lesson. Let us rise to the occasion. Let us rise to the occasion. I have a duty to play. You that is watching me, you have a duty to play. For everyone who will watch this video, you have a role to play. You know, enough of the blaming the government, blaming. Yes, all of them, no, they all have a role to play, but let us stand up by ourselves and say the truth, live by the truth. And when people are going wrong, let's be bold enough to call the authorities to know, to voice it out, to declare. We can use technology. You know, toll-free numbers should be announced to be everywhere. People, even a child should be able to know which number to call when he sees that somebody is using something that's not supposed to be used on a building, or there's a crack on a building, to be able to report like there's a crack, this building might fall anytime soon. These people were saying when they build, when they go up on the fifth floor, third floor, it used to shake, and it continued until it fell. So there were signs, but either we were not attentive enough, or people said but nobody heard. So this particular collapse, this loss of, it's, I feel for, this is my, I feel for those whose family members, loved ones were caught up in this mishap. And I pray that the God of heaven will comfort their hearts. It's not easy to lose a loved one, not just to lose them when they went to work, to lose them when they went for a meeting. It's so sad. It's really so sad. And I am hopeful that this situation will not reoccur, as all the different bodies should step up and do what is required. No more, please, can we please, let's find a way around it. No more finding a way around it. If there's a breach, there's a breach. If there's a breach, there's a breach. Balancing profit with quality is the key word for developers. Beyond making money, deliver quality projects that can stand the test of time. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, share this video, and like it. And also hit the notification bell so that whenever we drop a video, we're able to see it. Thank you, and do stay safe.